It was 8 days ago when we woke up to the news about the wildfires in California. I should say that this had each and every one of us go through a roller coaster of emotions.
How do I get to my
And today, we woke up to the news that the deadly wildfires that have been for a week now are expected to ease up in a couple of days. And you wonder for how long. There are more questions than answers on what happened before the disaster struck. The record has it that at least 25 people have died, 12,000 structures destroyed in blazes, with no one offering a break to the firefighters but the weakening winds. Firefighters on and off duty have been called on to lend a helping hand, but to no avail. It's never a pretty thing to die, especially not in the fires before the Judgement fire so spoken of. No one deserves that before that time at least. This is not to say that every other disaster that we have experienced or seen before is welcome, but history has it that this is one of the most destructive fires in California. Do they have a better chance now that the winds have thankfully eased up, or will they pick up again? Time will tell. How do we watch now the news of the people that have died and all that has been destroyed and be okay? Flames as well as questions are burning as we watch LA change forever in the Hollywood Hills. You have to give credit where it's due to the firefighters for having fought the flames day and night, something that has not been done before. It's now clear to everyone that we are living in a time of overwhelming interest to all living. As we observe the intensity that is taking possession of every element, we can clearly recognize that something great and decisive is about to take place. Without a doubt, the world is on the verge of a stupendous crisis. In the past few years, we have seen calamities by land and sea, the unsettled state of society, as well as the alarms of war. All these were foretold. But I am somewhat disturbed today. It distresses me so much to see Christians feeling glee over the unprecedented fires, calling it God's judgment for sin. On the other hand, jokes on the events that are so catastrophic as such are profoundly inappropriate and not at all entertaining. Mockery on the inspired writings is also uncalled for. We need to stop accrediting every virus or fire or whatever happens to God's judgment. Some of us have been so vocal in saying the disaster in LA has to be God's wrath. I wonder why. When other people suffer, it's always God's punishment. But when we suffer, it's God's refining fire. Do we really think that God's hand would not be recognized if He moved? And what about the other places that have experienced other forms of disasters like tornadoes and hurricanes? So here is my point. I could be wrong, but always interpreting things to suit our narratives that favors some theories while we are judging others harshly is inspirited. Our inconsistency reveals more about us than about God. I just hope that in the end, those of us that think that we have a relationship with God won't be found far from Him. And when we speak for Him, it's my prayer that we sound more like Him. All I'm saying is, let's be kind and mindful. People have lost property and some lives. God has a people in LA as He does outside Hollywood. And well, it could be a beckoning call from all that has happened there in the past, no doubt, but no one knows God's ways. Who knows what our judgment will be on what we do as well? Fire or drought? There is a lot of hurt. This world will not continue much longer. We have to keep future events in proper perspective and watch unto prayer. Yes, there are stormy times before us, but let us not utter a word of unbelief or discouragement. We should study the great waymarks that point out the times in which we are living, and the promise is sure that those who place themselves under God's control to be led and guided by Him will catch the steady tread of the events ordained by Him to take place. No need to fear unless we forget how God has led us in the past. May God comfort those families that have lost their loved ones, and that He might make a way for their property that has been lost. Praying for LA.